there, guys! This is going to be the second part to the Q&A videos that I had stacked up. If you haven't seen the fun questions video, that'll be linked down below. So basically, I had asked for questions in a video back like a week ago or something, and I asked for Q&A questions, and people sent me questions, and I divided it into fun questions, and I had some of them that were kind of like more on the informative side. So yeah, this is the informative side of that page. Yes, so without further ado, I'm going to try to run through these as fast as I can so I don't make a super duper long video. So our first question comes from Dylan Gordon, and they asked, can you do something with an apple head? And can a pull-up doll head fit on a 40 centimeter or 50 centimeter? Please do a video on these topics. Very interesting questions. I get a lot of questions about obitsus dolls, and sadly I don't work with them that much. I kind of know like the skim level of it. I definitely would not call myself an expert in any way, shape, way, or form. You asked if I could do something with an apple head. I don't even know if I have an apple head. If I do, I'll try to post pictures of it somewhere, either on my Tumblr or Facebook account. But the other question you asked was putting a pull-up doll head onto a 40 centimeter or 50 centimeter doll. Okay, so technically this is a pull-up per se, right? This is a tying. You asked if you could put a head onto an MSD sized body. I wouldn't really recommend doing that just because the difference in size is like insane. They have huge heads to begin with, and to try to put that on an MSD sized bodies. But I could see if you're trying to like modify it, since these bodies that they come with are not exactly like the most posable bodies in the world. But really my theory behind that is that they're supposed to be display dolls. That's why they come with stands and all that jazz. And that's why they're like beautifully dressed and designed. It's meant to be on a shelf to look pretty. I wouldn't say it's really meant to, like, you know, let me take it outside and do nature shots, like, you know, with him peering over a lake or something. He is pretty much set in this position, so I can see why you're trying to think if you could put an MSD sized body on it, and there's just so much stuff you would have to research on. Modifications just alone are going to be like a nightmare for you, because the neck diameter that you have for a doll like this versus this is way different. I mean, you can even see, I'll show you. So you're talking about an MSD neck joint that looks like that compared to a neck that's like that. So I mean, that's major modification. You'd have to learn how to take the head off, and it's a lot of work. I've never done it. There might be some people on the internet that have done it before. I know that they sometimes will modify and put the obitsus bodies onto them. I have not experimented and ventured into that region, but this is like an obitsus body. I've heard of people transferring these bodies onto them, but I have not done it myself, so I cannot tell you anything about them, so sorry. But if you're really interested, I would highly recommend that you research what you're going to do before you do it. Next question comes from Aki SMF, or Aiko SMF. And they said, I like to draw, and I was wondering, would the obitsus dolls make good drawing mannequins? Actually, I think they're pretty good, and I've actually heard of other people buying them just, you know, to be strictly like their drawing mannequin helpers. They can do a lot of really, really cool poses, and they can hold it in place. So, I mean, you get them with the magnetic feet, you can have a stand, and definitely, I mean, I'd be able to like position it like this and, you know, hold it like that and have him, you know, draw it in that position if, you know, you wanted your guy to be like, yeah. So yeah, I think they're good, you know, and they're not that expensive either. I don't know how much more cheaper or expensive it is than just getting a wooden mannequin, but, you know, I think they're really cool, and then you can customize it, and it's really fun, so yeah, I'd say why not. So next question comes from Kawaii Nyang. They asked, what's it like taking your dolls to conventions? What are the pros and cons? They basically wanted to take their doll with them to conventions once they get their doll, but I like taking them to conventions if I'm doing a panel. Before then, I took Kai with me to a BJD panel. It was one of Lainey's panels, and I felt kind of nervous walking around with him. I was definitely not ashamed. I was just like scared that something was gonna happen to him, and I was like, man, this is so much money, I'm carrying him around. It was fun though. It was definitely fun. Our next question comes from Shinju G, and they asked, have you ever traveled with your doll gang and accidentally forgot someone or something you needed? How do you carry them all for a trip? I've never really forgotten anyone on purpose. I've had to leave some at home because there's no way I'm going to take like all of them. To the 2 or 3 panels that I went to and I wasn't able to take all of my dolls. I took a good majority of them, but I didn't take all of them. So I haven't really lost anything or done anything like that. Whenever I go to the panels, I usually make a checklist and I'll go through it to make sure I have everything that I need for the panel. But how I carry them, I will carry them in my doll bag, which I'll show you that awesome thing right now. So this is my doll bag. I actually received this as a Christmas present from my husband. He was my boyfriend at the time. And I had told him that I really, really liked Dollmore and how they had their doll cases, and oh my god, I wanted just one doll case and I would be so happy. And oh my gosh, they made like this awesome double carrier for 2 SDs, like that'd be awesome to have, you know. It was totally like a surprise because I was opening it up and this is what I got, but it's really cool. So basically, it's got a little bit of padding on the outside here. But the cool thing is there's these little seat belts in here, and like the little seat belts here will tie in the dolls and they can stay in there. I have everyone's little face caps in, which is another thing that I will definitely make sure I have when I leave. They all have their little space helmets on so that way their face ups don't get messed up or anything when I put them in there. Usually I can cram like 3 SDs in here, and then like an MSD and like obitsus or the Hujo dolls in here. I've crammed a lot of dolls in here before, and I just like zip it up here like this and la la la. So it's zipped up, and then I can carry it by the little straps here, or I have a little shoulder strap too. This is the coolest thing ever. If you don't have the means to get a doll bag, I also carry them in a little like beach bag, like a satchel beach bag thing. I'll put them in there and just make sure they're nicely wrapped up or they're in their pillows and stuff. It's just really, really safe when I travel with them. But that's how I take my doll gang out. I put them in my doll bag and then I just leave. So, and it's cool because it's like, it looks like a super duper like hoity-toity bag, and I feel like super awesome when I walk around with it because it's like awesome. It was the best present ever. Thank you, husband. Next question comes from Stolen User. They asked, have you ever attempted or done any heavy modding, as in dyeing resin, sanding, or cutting into it? And if not, how do you feel about it? Very interesting question. The most modding I have done was I've boiled their hands before to switch the position. I've drilled earring holes into their ears before. I've done that for 3 of my dolls. I do want to do some heavy modding on the Resin Soul gang body that I have here. When the new body comes in, I'll be modifying that. I'm going to try to reduce the resin that's in the hip joint there. And a lot of people have been doing it. It seems like it's really awesome and it helps a lot because they kind of like sit like at a weird angle like this instead of sitting up like this. So I'm definitely going to try that out and see if it works. And if it does work really awesome, I will definitely be videotaping it and I'll post it up for everyone to see what I did. So yeah. Next is from Demon Girl 345, and they asked, I've noticed some of your dolls have been wearing the same dark shirts for a while. I wanted to know if they get stained. Also, how long or how many days does a doll have to be wearing a certain dark outfit to have been stained? I haven't seen any staining on my dolls yet. The only one that I've seen stains on is Sophie. She had like a little blue thing here, which I'm going to try to clean out, but it's like really, really tiny. I don't know if maybe it came off from my nail polish or what it was. I know there's people that have purchased dark clothing for their dolls and the color has like come off, it like seeps through and it stains their doll or whatever. Preventative things that you can do to that is just like wash the clothes before you put them on your doll. A lot of people do vinegar baths for the clothing, and that'll seep out any extra color dye that's in the material. And then just be careful. Make sure that you spray your doll before you put any clothes on. I always spray all my bodies that I get in I spray it with MSC, and then I put clothes on them. I never just get a doll and I'm like, yay, and I'm going to put the clothes on and that's it. I usually put MSC on. Also, just make sure you just do your regular maintenance on them. Just clean them off, take off the clothes, clean them off, you know. Even if you're just going over them with just like a magic clean eraser, just to, you know, just do whatever and then resealing them. Anything like that will help prevent from any staining and anything like that happening to your dolls. And then just periodically check. You think, okay, my doll is wearing black jeans, so he's been sitting there on my shelf for like a week. Let me take him off and let me see how he's doing. That way you don't leave him there for like a month or two and then you're like, oh man, this stain is really, really bad now. Try to stop it early, so just periodically check at your dolls and see how they're doing. Next question comes from Blushing Hemet, and they asked, where do you buy their clothes and how much do they usually cost? I've purchased clothes from different places. I've purchased clothes from a store called Tata's Paradise, from Alice's Collection, from Mint on Card. I've purchased some clothes from Junky Spot, Dollmore, the Marketplace, DOA Marketplace. I've purchased clothes from there too. It varies. It varies on what you're going to spend. I've spent, like I've mentioned before, like $70 like on an outfit for a doll. And then I've also spent like $12 for like a skirt and a shirt. So it really depends on where you shop and what you want. But I mean, those are just a couple of stores I really go to and I like a lot. I usually don't try to spend super duper extensive amounts of money on doll clothes just because the hobby itself is already so expensive. So I'm not going to go out and spend like $110 like on an outfit. Or Next question. It comes from Claire Grant, and they asked, have you either used silver or gold leaf on a face-up? Holy crap. I'm not going to like go into large detail about this, but gold leaf scares the living daylights out of me because I was painting something for my mom, some crafting project, and I'd never heard of it before until I used it that day. And it is so freakishly strong. Like, I was so stupid. Like, I put it in a styrofoam cup and it ate right through it. So that alone tells me that I would be too scared to use that on a doll. I think silver gold leaf, the gold leaf paint is meant to stay on there. So I would be very nervous about putting it onto a doll. And then you don't even know what it might, you know, chemically do to a resin. I wouldn't recommend it. I don't know if anybody else has. But I mean, there are paints. There's acrylic paints that you can buy that are gold. That I'd imagine would come off a lot easier than, you know, gold leaf would. Just be super careful. Just be careful what you put on. Do research, see if anybody else has used metallic colors and see what they use and how easy or how hard it was to come off. So, next question comes from Audraborn. They asked, do you have to unstring UA's feet completely to change them to heeled, or are there pegs to snap them into or onto? I wish I would be so freakishly happy if they were pegs. Unfortunately, they are not. I have to actually pull out the elastic and then unhook the regular feet and then hook on the heeled feet. It is such a pain in the butt to have to do that just to put on heeled feet. Mainly since the hooks look different too, I think. It could be me, but the hooks look different. So yeah, usually if I change her into heeled feet, she'll stay in heeled feet for a while until I switch her back to her regular flat feet. But yeah, I wish it was pegs. I know there's, you know, Fairyland has magnetic parts, and that's super smart. But yeah, no, it's not pegs, it's hooks. Next question comes from Jinjiniro no Okami, and they asked, I was wondering, so I have to keep my doll in his box because there's no good place to put him, especially where the cat cannot get him. But I really want to, when we move to a bigger place, get shelves for my dolls, like I see you have yours on a shelf. Only one thing I notice, even after a few days, his box gets so dusty. How do you keep your dolls from getting dusty on the shelf? I don't give my dolls a chance to get dusty. Usually I'll pick them up or do something with them. My shelves themselves, I will usually dust. I usually do dust. But like, it's not dirty. Like, these people, I don't see dust gathering on them. But like I said, I usually pick them up. I'll take them with me to different places in my house. So, but I'd imagine just make sure like everything else in your house you just dust. You know, keep up your cleaning regimen. I mean, If they do happen to get dusty, I probably would not get like a feather duster and dust them off with a feather duster, because that could carry stuff on it and get onto your doll and whatnot. But you know what? I probably would recommend getting like an air can. Getting like one of those pressurized air cans. And maybe just kind of lightly go over them with it. That's what I've done before with my figurines, because it's too much to kind of get a feather duster on. So I'll get my air can, an air pressurized can, and I'll just go like that, and it cleans it right off, and I don't have to worry about anything getting on them. Just make sure that, you know, you're not tilting the can or anything like weird like that, because then stuff will come out. But, you know, just maybe that. I think that would be a good start if you're scared about dust. So another question I got was from Anime Starwind, and they said, I've been seeing a lot of restringing videos. Is there a chance you'll be able to do one, or how to take apart your doll, unless you already have one? I actually do already have a restringing video. I'm planning on redoing it though, because I did it a long time ago, and the camera I used was really old. So I might be doing that. I'll have to figure out when. Moving on to the next question, comes from Evolution Storm. And they had asked, do you know when Emery gets his Bobobi/Resin Soul shipments in? And she also asked, and also, what would be a cheap but good wig brand? First question first, I actually did a Ustream, it wasn't a Ustream, I think it was Google Hangout, and Emery happened to jump in, so he was able to explain the process to me. So basically what he does, which was really interesting to learn, he makes like a batch order of like $250 to like $150 at one time, and it takes like, he said it takes maybe like 2 to 4 months sometimes for the shipment to come in, and it doesn't come in like all together, it comes in pieces, because it takes that amount of time to make. And then when he finally does get them in, he'll do the inventory, and then he said sadly sometimes his order doesn't always come in the way he wanted it to. But that's usually generally how he does it, so I don't know if that really answered your question, but that's pretty much what he does. He does magical black magic that I don't know, but he's just amazing. He does all that crazy stuff. But you're more than welcome to check the site, and if you have a question, I know he has a, he's got a forum, and he's got an email that you can send like shipping questions to and whatnot, sales questions to. So I'll put that in the comments bar below. You also asked what would be a good, cheap wig brand. What would be a cheap but good wig brand? Affordable. I don't like saying cheap, but like a good affordable wig, it's not going to break the bank. Fur wigs are always really nice. A lot of my dollies have fur wigs. I like them just because they're easy to style. And I have purchased them from different places. Some of the other ones are from Mimi Woo. Like I just bought like a $5 fur wig from them. I've also purchased some off of the marketplace before. This is a really, really good place to check out. Sunny's Wonderful World is really good for fur wigs. Other than that, a lot of my other doll wigs are actually, my synthetic ones are Doll Zone wigs. They're actually really reasonably priced. I think hers, see, like I can't remember. It's like 20 or less. It's not that bad. And then I've also purchased her wig from Doll Zone also. But the synthetic fibers for it are really nice. Like I said, it didn't really break the bank for me. It wasn't too bad. A couple of my other girls are wearing also Doll Zone wigs. And yeah, that was pretty much all the informative questions that I got asked. Thank you so much to everyone that asked me questions, and I'm sorry if you asked a question now and now the video is already finished. I'll get back to all the questions that I did not answer. I'll type out responses to you all. But yes, thank you. It was super duper interesting to hear your questions and whatnot. As always, you're more than welcome to message me on Facebook, on Tumblr, or on YouTube, and I'll be more than happy to get back to you. This has been my Q&A video. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and if you guys didn't see the fun one, the fun question video, the link is in the description box. Bye! Have a good day! Bye!